Well, for more on what's next for the oil industry, I spoke with Carl Larry. Carl is a market specialist with Refinitiv. And I began by asking about Saudi Aramco, which is getting ready for its big IPO.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of ifs out there for this to happen because, Aramco for years has been a private company, a state-owned company, but now trying to open up your books and let everybody take a peek inside on what's really there, what's not there, and what could be there. It's going to be really tough, but, so far so good. They're on track for maybe this month, or next month, I should say, to get this going.
And we know that obviously there were some issues with the attacks on the oil fields. A lot of people wondering about some of these geopolitical situations and how they're weighing on the industry. Which are the areas we should be paying attention to?
Well, I mean, at one time, the Saudi Arabian oil facilities were like Fort Knox. There was no way that anything was ever going to happen there. And this year, seeing those attacks, it really changed the dynamics. People's view and outlook on what could happen there really changed. So we didn't see a big reaction in the market because of the oil supply. But going forward, if demand picks up, people are going to watch that area a lot. I mean, it's not just the Saudis, it's the Iranians, it's Iraq, it's Libya. There's a lot in the Middle East we have to watch for.
And so as we look also at really how people are viewing the oil industry, is oil really still king when it comes to energy? And who are the closest contenders?
Well, I think that, when you look at the difference or the opportunities that are out there in the industry for energy, renewable energy or what have you, I think, you're looking at a lot of the wind power. I think that's going to come first and foremost. You're going to see a lot of the solar, but definitely, we're looking at a lot of alternatives right now. Even within oil industry itself, a lot of biofuels are getting created, and we're seeing a lot of that take a share of the market now too.
And so what sort of investments are we seeing from some of these traditional energy companies in these cleaner resources?
Well, I mean, it's a hard investment because we all know we want to do it. We all want to be more environmentally friendly, but the cost up front's high. So even for electric cars, people want to buy them, but they're expensive. People want to use them, but it's hard to charge them. People want to see how far they can go in them, and it's not going to be very far. So your upfront investment for whether it's a company or a consumer is really high. The long tail is going to be better. We're going to see much more, efficiency and environmental friendly, but that hard part is getting over that first hump.
Now let's also take a look at the face of the oil industry. I mean, we know that ExxonMobil's former CEO and former Secretary of State under President Trump, Rex Tillerson, was in a New York court this week. He faced allegations that Exxon intentionally misled investors about the way they accounted for the financial risk of climate change. Now, he did deny that part of it, but he did say, look, we knew this was a serious issue. We knew this was going to be an issue that was going to last even beyond our lifetimes. What sort of responsibility do you think these companies now have being at the forefront of this?
Well, I mean, the hard part is trying to put a finger on why and how much they really didn't account for or did account for. And that's a really volatile number. We really can't say they knew or didn't know, but it is going to put the rest of the oil and gas industry under focus. We are going to be under a microscope here because people will want to know what are these companies doing to combat climate change. We know it's here. We know that we see the obvious that it's happening, but we want to see how far and how deep that they are into it right now. I don't think this is going to be another Philip Morris scandal where we see tobacco being hidden from harmful effects, but we are going to see some of that cover pulled back.
And we are seeing obviously some responding to pressure, not just from climate change activists, but also from their bottom line in terms of where the future is headed for energy. Talk about BP's transition when it comes to wind and solar.
Yeah, BP has really been a leader. They've been doing very well going into the renewable space, in wind, in solar, in bioenergy, and I think that's where it's really interesting when you talk about BP in that sense. When they had that big oil spill some 15 years ago to now, they've really turned a lot around, and that's really important. So maybe we might see more oil and gas companies head in that direction, but they're definitely taking the lead and doing a very good job of it right now too.
And for some of these oil-dependent countries, as they're looking at these changes, say they're not in a position really to convert to renewable energy sources, what does this mean for them, especially when it comes to not just production, but also storage of some of these newer energies?
Absolutely. I mean, the issue here that you have at risk is that these oil-producing countries rely so much on that money to keep their economies going, and as if they don't transition over, obviously they're going to lose money on the production of oil. Nobody's going to be buying that, and then they're going to lose out on the investment of going into alternative fuels or renewable fuels. So it could be a major shock to those oil-producing countries, as we turn that corner into environmentally friendly fuel. But a lot remains to be seen here.